Welcome to my channel. I'm Lindsay Perez, your friendly neighborhood beauty enthusiast. Today I'm going to be showing you how I do my full face of makeup using just this one palette and a few select brushes. If you want to learn more and learn all things beauty, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for being here. Today for my makeup, I'm going to be using my Seint palette. This is my favorite line. I've been using it for about 3 years now. In the top, you have all of your foundation, your blush, your bronzer, everything. And then in the bottom, I have all my eyeshadows and my setting powder. So all my makeup fits in this compact, minus my lashes, which is really great. And then I'm gonna also be using my Seint brushes. So this is a brush holder. And then inside all of our brushes are double-ended, which is super great. So I'm only gonna be using a few, but if you have questions about these, feel free to ask. I do not prime my face. I just put sunscreen on. For me, it's what works best. If you want to use a primer, feel free to, but I'm going to show you how to do it without. To start, I'm going to be doing my eyebrows, and I'm just going to use my contour color for my brows. This is the color Ash, and I do have my brows tattooed, but I'm going to just make them a little bit more bold for when I do wear my makeup. There is a mirror inside of this compact, so I'm going to be using that. I'm using my line brush and just filling in the shape that's already there. You can also use eyeshadow for this. Okay, brows are done. Next, I'm going to go in and do my eyeshadow. If you just want to learn about foundation, feel free to speed past this part, but I'm going to show you everything today. In the bottom of my compact here, I just have 6 of my favorite eyeshadows along with setting powder. I have Crush, Philly, You Complete Me, Gilded, Tawanda, and Unicorn. All of these are shimmers except for Philly. I like a shimmer. So I'm just gonna pop in with Crush, and I'm using my eyeshadow brush. Again, these are all double-ended. You can prime your eyes with your highlight shade if you need to. I'll show you that in just a minute. And I'm just swirling this all the way around, and I'm gonna jump in with Philly. And I'm just going to create a little bit of depth there, right through my crease. And I do have slightly hooded eyes. You can't tell too much with my lashes on, but they are slightly hooded. So if you also have hooded eyes, take your darker tone just a little bit higher than your natural crease. I always do my eyeshadow with my eyes open as well for the same reason. So if I want to prime my lid, I'm just gonna take my blend brush, and I'm just gonna grab my lightest highlight shade, and you don't need a lot because this is cream. And I'm just gonna apply that as a base. What this does is it creates an even foundation for your eyeshadow to go on. So if you are wanting a really intense eyeshadow look, it's a really good idea to start there. The same thing, Crush on the other eye, and then a little bit of Philly. And then I just wipe my little brush off here, and then I'm gonna swirl to blend using that same brush. And I'm just gonna flip, and I'm gonna take this little unicorn. Be careful with this color because it's very iridescent. I'm just gonna do a little bit underneath my brow bone and a little on my inner corner. You can see how bright that is. And then I'm just gonna blend that out slightly. I like to do my eyeshadow before my foundation. That way if I do get any dust on my cheek, I can clean it up with foundation. So now I'm gonna jump into my 3D foundation. Seint is different than any foundation you've ever used because we don't have a base color. So there's no base that you put on first and then you conceal and then you contour. You're gonna get full coverage as you go using way less product. So this is all cream based, which means it's significantly more pigmented than anything else you've ever used. I'm gonna be using my blend brush. This is the brush I recommend when you first get started. It's got this little kind of dense end and then this bigger fluffy end, and I'm gonna show you how to use this. So when you start using Seint, you'll be color matched by me with a personal color match. I will map out your face and show you exactly where to apply each color. So this will seem overwhelming when you first watch it, but once you have your makeup in front of you, it makes perfect sense. So you are going to have a dark highlight, a light highlight, a contour, an illuminator, blush, and then bronzer. And then this is just a little lip conditioner. So I'm gonna start with my little end, and I'm gonna go in with the darker of my 2 highlights. Again, less is more. If it looks heavy, if it looks cakey, you used way too much. So start with less product than you think you need. So I'm going, you can see I have this giant zit here, and then I have a couple little breakouts here, very hormonal, which is super annoying. So I'm gonna go in with the darkest of my two highlights, and I'm gonna tap on just my darkest areas. Do you see how that's disappearing? Isn't that amazing? And I used just the teeniest amount. I'm gonna put a little bit of this on my chin as well because my chin is slightly darker than the rest of my face. And I have a little breakout right here. And then underneath my eyes, your under eyes are always gonna be darker. Unless you're an anomaly and you get 45 hours of sleep a night. So I'm not gonna be doing this big, huge triangle. I'm just focusing on this little dip right here where it gets darker. I'm just gonna focus that dark color right there, and then I'm gonna kind of work into the side of my eye because it's a little darker there too. If you're putting a lighter color of highlight of anything underneath your eyes, it's gonna enhance all your little wrinkles. And then I'm just gonna blend this down slightly. Same thing on the other eye. And again, you're using very, very small amounts of products. You can barely see it on my brush. Because it's cream, it's more pigmented, so you need way less than you think you do. I'm gonna do a little bit of that darker shade on my nose. Again, I just have a little bit darker nose, most people do. Sticks out, sees the sun more, even with sunscreen. Then we're gonna flip to my little blend on this side. I'm gonna use my lighter for my two highlights. So you can see I'm not using a lot of product. So everywhere that we didn't put the dark shade, we're gonna put our lighter shade. So these are the areas of my skin that don't need nearly as much coverage, but I still want a little bit of coverage because I want that flawless finish, right? So along my jaw here, I'm just going to tap and swirl. Going slightly through my T-zone. It's okay if you go over some of the darker areas, just be careful not to use too much. Right through my T-zone in the top here. So you can see I didn't really put anything on my cheek through the top of my forehead. Now we're gonna contour. If you wanna contour with this brush, you sure can. I'm not going to. I'm going to switch to my detail brush. So I love this end for contour because it's just exactly what you need. So a common misconception with contour is that you follow the natural dip of your cheek and you just go down. That's actually gonna make your face look significantly droopier. So we wanna lift. So instead of putting your contour down here, put it right up here and kind of go up just slightly. Don't go down, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in with my contour, and I kind of tap it onto one side of this brush. I don't know if you can see that, but I tap it more on one side so that I really get that detailed look. So we're not gonna go down here, we're gonna go up here. So I can feel that cheekbone. And I'm going right up against the cheekbone, not down here. I'm gonna do my forehead. And I'm blending up into my hairline. I'm gonna have that line there for a second, but we're gonna blend it out. You can be heavier handed with your contour than your highlight if you would like to. Same thing on this side. Higher than you think you need. And then last thing I'm gonna do with my contour is my nose. If you really want to contour your nose, you can use a smaller brush. I like to just use the very edge of this and kind of stamp it on. You want to make sure that your nose contour is on top of your nose, not on the side. If you put contour down here, it's going to actually make your nose look larger. All right, that first brush now, we're just going to blend. I don't have any product on here. This is cream. It blends like a dream. So when you're blending, I'm not gonna blend all the way up here. I'm just blending out that little bit of a line and I'm just buffing it. If I blend all the way up, then I'm gonna take out that contour that I just put in. On this side, you're gonna blend the top of it. Don't blend down. And can you see how light I'm pushing this brush? I'm not pushing it really hard against my face. Just really light-handed with everything. All right, again, you can keep using this brush if you want to. I'm gonna switch to my blush brush and I'm gonna do exactly that. I'm gonna do my blush and then I'm also gonna do my Bella bronzer. So you can use either end for this. You can also blend with this, completely up to you. I'm gonna use the little end for my blush, the big end for my bronzer. So this little end here, I'm gonna pop in with this little orange blush. It's my favorite, it's called Frenchie. And I'm gonna put it right above my contour. And I'm kind of working it up and back. Blending as I go. And then I want to look like I've been at a beach, even though I haven't. And I'm gonna flip this end around. I'm gonna use my Bella bronzer. This is very, very pigmented. Be careful with this. So bronzer and contour are different. We're not gonna put bronzer over our contour. We're gonna put it above it. So if you had been outside all day and you got a little bit sunburned and then it faded, where would you see that? You would see it above your eyebrows, on the tip of your nose, and right around your hairline here. So that's where we put bronzer. Now after you blend, if you want to add more contour, you can. I'm going to. Because I like a stronger contour. It's easier to overblend than it is to underblend with this. So there's no shame in overblending and adding a little bit more. Okay, next thing we're gonna be doing is lips. I'm gonna be using my little multitasker brush, and this is super easy. I'm gonna use that bronzer that I just used, and I'm gonna line my lips. And then my chapstick, I'm just gonna use my finger. And then I'm gonna take that blush color that I used. And just add a little pop of color. All right, so I'm gonna jump into my second layer here, and I have my setting powder. You can use any brush for this. I'm gonna use my powder brush. I really like this flat end. You can see I use it for powder a lot. It's very dense. So this is, I'm gonna set underneath my eyes. And you can see how that kind of mattified everything. And then I'm just gonna set my T-zone. I don't do this every day, but I wanna show you the difference. So even though it's cream, you can still mattify it. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my Stay Spray, and then I just have my little perfector sponge that is dirty, and I'm just gonna spray this. This spray does not come out in a mist, so I spray it on my sponge, and then I set my makeup with that. So I just do my whole face, under my eye. And if you want to add bronzer or contour to your neck, you absolutely can. Okay, there we go. So no base foundation, that was highlight and contour to create one solid foundation, and it's beautiful. It looks dimensional. It doesn't look like I'm wearing pounds of makeup. It looks like my natural skin, and that is the power of cream. If you want to try anything I used, just send me a makeup-free selfie in natural light. I will color match you. I'll map out your face. I'll build a cart for you with everything you need in it, just like this palette, and I will help you learn how to use it. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.